Hi there. Um, I'm hoping that this video works this time. Last time I tried to go live, it just didn't record properly. So today I'm talking about how I am attempting to conquer type 2 diabetes without medications. Just to say that this, nothing I say constitutes medical advice. I'm not a trained doctor, but I'm happy to share my experiences with you. Back in October 2017, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I had all sorts of very horrific symptoms. I had an infected thumb and the infection wouldn't go away. I had a whole lot of memory lapses, which I really thought I was going to into sort of dementia mode, particularly worrying because my mum suffered from dementia. And I was physically just extremely ill, tired and exhausted all of the time. And the blood tests came back to say that I was type 2 diabetic. Now, I'm a bit of a contrarian, so I rejected all of the medications that they offered me. There were various medications, including statins and the flu jab, and I just said no. If I can cure this via diet, then I'm going to cure it via diet. And I immediately started to research on the internet, including YouTube. And one of the things that I discovered was that there was a very good video where this guy talked about the GPS diet, not the global positioning satellites, but instead talked about get rid of the grains, get rid of the potatoes, get rid of the sugar. And there was something really resonated in me about that. So by November, I was trying to put this into practice. So how did I put this into practice? Well, there's a whole number of things. I got rid of bread for a start. I eliminated bread from my diet. Very difficult because I was very much used to grabbing sandwiches. But in the end, I just said no. I was even eating wholemeal bread. But I just decided to eliminate all bread, all garlic bread. I love garlic bread, but I've eliminated it. I cut down on things like sweetened, like beetroot, jarred beetroot, a bottle of beetroot. They put sugar in beetroot when beetroot is sweet. I've now switched to buying vacuum-packed beetroot or growing. I'm also trying to grow my own this year, and I also occasionally buy fresh beetroot and I steam it, and then put cider vinegar on. I got rid of all jams. I stopped eating chutney because they're and pickles because they're delicious, but they're high in sugar. No fruit juice whatsoever. I switched from apple juice to apples, orange juice to oranges, grapefruit juice to grapefruits, pear juice to pears. I stopped all of the juices. And the incredible thing going on this diet, I remember one of the biggest challenges in November when I'd started this diet was I was up to the British Focusing Association annual gathering. I was in Leicester Station and waiting for a train, and my instant learned behaviour is to simply go to the coffee place, buy coffee and cake. And so I basically had the desire to eat to buy this cake. And I'm a mindfulness and thing teacher. I'm a psychotherapist, and I decided to put some of the techniques that I offer to my clients. I decided to try this particular technique just to get a handle on it. So I grounded myself. I literally shifted my body awareness down to my feet. I noticed the solid floor beneath my feet. That's something I do anyway. It's a really good way of sort of becoming stronger actually in your person is to do the grounding, becoming more stable, more solid. And I acknowledge the desire for cake. I decided to notice where I could notice the desire for cake in my body. I acknowledged it. I said hello. I didn't merge with it. I didn't fight it. I didn't argue with it. I just said, how interesting. There's a part of me that wants to have cake with my coffee. And just as I tell my clients, the desire for the cake increased, reduced, and went. So by the time I got to the front of the queue for the coffee, I just ordered a coffee. I didn't order the cake. I also had to very much battle with the fact that I think I've been type 2 diabetic for absolutely years, because I've been so ill for years. And my sister remarked that at one point a few years ago, when I had gastroenteritis and I was taken into hospital, she thinks that the consultant who was there said, we don't understand why your blood sugar levels are so high, given the fact you haven't eaten for 3 days. So I think I've been diabetic for a long time, or at least verging on it. So anyway, I also asked to speak to a dietitian to get my diet right, and the NHS doctors promised that I'd be in contact with a dietitian by January. Anyway, while I was waiting for the dietitian, I sort of did a load more research as well, and was putting real changes into practice. So what sort of things was I eating? If I'm not eating pizza, I'm not eating bread, I'm not eating jam, I'm not eating chutneys, I'm not eating anything that's high on the glycemic index. And for those who don't know, the glycemic index is the index that tells you how quickly carbohydrates turn into sugar when you eat them. So awful stuff includes white rice. If you're diabetic, at least it includes white rice. It includes pasta. It includes bread. Even wholemeal bread is very high on the glycemic index. So I did lots of cuts. What I did do was I allowed myself fresh porridge every morning, and I'm still having porridge most mornings, made with whole fat milk. I started to buy a huge mega bag of mixed nuts from Waitrose, the supermarket that likes to provide middle-class essentials. It's £11 for a huge bag, and it lasts me a couple of weeks. Instead of having sandwiches for lunch, I started to have salads, cheese salads with cheese, avocado, watercress, greens, tomatoes, red pepper, all sorts of salads. I've started to make homemade hummus. And homemade hummus, not only does it taste incredibly delicious, but it's so much better for you than the bought stuff. If you've got, I've got a £9, it only cost me £9 from Argos, a very cheap and cheerful blender. So you put a can of chickpeas in, you put some tahini in, I put a peeled lemon in with the pits removed, put a little bit of olive oil in, and press the button, and you've got homemade hummus that tastes absolutely wonderful. Put garlic as well. I put garlic in there. Another thing I started to do was, I'm vegetarian, so I don't eat eggs, but I did things like increase in the kale, increase in the spinach. I did an aubergine, tomato, mushroom, onion, cheese bake with a whole load of full fat cheese. I make, for example, cauliflower cheese, which is absolutely delicious. I make kidney bean curries, chickpea curries, other Barotti bean curries. And I am still eating a little bit of rice, but I've reduced the portions from a huge amount to just a tiny, small amount, and it's brown rice as well. So I'm not completely carbohydrate free, but a lot of my meals are either no carb or incredibly low carb. And interestingly, my weight began to reduce. It initially went down from 17 stone to 16 stone by March. And that was absolutely amazing. I reduced it again to 15 stone, and it's now on about 14.5 stone. So low carb, no sugar, and don't worry about the fats unless they're trans fats is what I'm doing. And again, I rejected all medications. So the overall results up, and I know another video for the second one, but the overall results were that I started to lose weight. Unlike previous diets that I've been on, which were low-calorie diets, my energy levels on the low-calorie really began to plummet. Just didn't work at all. I increased the exercise. I did lose weight on low-calorie with low-calorie high exercise, but by the time I'd got down from 17 to 14 stone, this was a few years back, I was not fit, I was not healthy, the exercise wasn't helping. My metabolism had virtually shut down. It had really shut down. Now, the difference on low carbohydrate diet is that my energy levels have actually been increasing, are actually getting better, not worse. I have a few occasional days when I just don't feel too good. My immune system, however, seems to be operating better. When I used to have colds before then, they used to last and last and last. Now I still seem to get colds and stuff, but the rate of recovery is increased. The weird thing since being on this low carb, reasonably high fat, medium protein diet as well is that I'm waking up earlier, which is weird. Really weird. So I'm waking up with energy, with the ability to get up and do things. Even me talking now, I'm talking faster than I normally would. So I'm going to do another video as well, and this time I'm going to tell you how my diet compared to the National Health Service advice that finally came through in March, and why I think the NHS guidelines are wrong. So anyway, I'm going to end this now, and I'm hoping it comes out okay, and I'm going to publish it. Cheers. Bye.